Good morning. I'm Phillipa Leighton-Jones, Editor-at-Large of the Trust at the Wall Street Journal Barron's Group. Thank you for joining the October CEO Council meeting today. Before we begin our main programme, I'd like to welcome Simon Freakley, Chief Executive Officer of AlixPartners, for a conversation on what is top of mind for so many CEO Council members, establishing the new normal and making the necessary adjustments to achieve peak productivity and to thrive amid new conditions. Simon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Phillipa.
So let me start by asking you, what are the great challenges that CEOs are facing at this stage of the pandemic?
Well, Phillipa, as Lenin famously said, there are decades when nothing happens and then weeks when decades happen. And my goodness, we're living through one of those moments. Not, of course, that the world wasn't being profoundly disrupted before the pandemic came along, but then the mother of all disruptions happened, and we've all been pivoting ever since. But the fundamental challenge for chief executives now is how long is the pandemic going to go on for? How long is this uncertainty going to last for? Is it 6 months? Is it 36 months? And how to drive a business forward through that time. Fundamentally, the most important thing, and we see this with clients every single day, is the ability to execute the strategy is the defining success factor. So having a good strategy executed well will always be better than having an excellent strategy executed poorly. So execution, leaning in, driving that strategy day on day is the most important thing during this period of profound uncertainty.
So you've hinted at leadership really there. So what does the ideal leader look like in the year 2020 and beyond? And how has the pandemic changed the job, probably forever?
Well, clearly, leadership is important at any time, but particularly during this time of profound uncertainty. So a leader has to be authentic, clearly, but particularly now, a leader has to be inclusive. You know, we have the pandemic going on, but we also have this moment of social justice going on in the world of equity. And this is just as big an issue. And so unless a leader is inclusive in terms of how they understand the issues of social justice in their company with their stakeholders, then they're simply not going to be able to do their job properly. And then ultimately, they have to be transparent. They have to be transparent in terms of what they're doing to drive the execution of the strategy, but also to make sure they're demonstrating they have all of these big issues in their field of sight.
So how can leaders implement change within their own company's culture?
Well, every company has a culture. So it's not that they don't have a culture in the absence of making one. It's just a matter of, is this the culture that you want? And cultures do have to evolve. And candidly, the only way that chief executives can make sure the company has the culture they want is by modeling it, is by living it, by breathing it, by demonstrating it every day, and critically holding a mirror up to the organization to show the organization whether they are meeting the standard, and also holding a mirror up to themselves to make sure that they really are modeling the culture that they want. And organizations like fish rot from the head. And so unless leaders are demonstrating relentlessly the culture that they demand the company should have, then it doesn't work. And so ultimately, as with everything, it boils down to leadership.
Okay, so here's the big question, Simon. What will the post-crisis environment look like in your view?
Well, of course, we don't know all the answers and we critically don't know all the questions. But one of the things we do know is that the new normal is going to be different. It is going to be different. We're feeling our way to that as we go through the pandemic, but how we think about the workplace, how we think about what employment looks like, how we think about the use of technology, and how I think we've all been surprised at how we have managed to cope with better technology through the pandemic is going to be instructive. But the one thing is for sure, that the new normal will not be like the old normal.
Simon, thank you for these incredibly important points. And to our viewers, please enjoy the rest of our CEO Council program today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.